Hey everyone, Extreme speaking. Today we're back here with Adnan from DTA. Last week he gave us spectacular indication where the market could go, and yes, it did exactly what he said. The upside went to the mark he gave us. Thanks again for coming onto my channel and looking forward to this week's analysis. And also, thank you for taking time out of your day while traveling to still give us our weekly indication of what the markets might do.
Thank you very much, Strikus, and really chuffed to be back on the channel again. And I'm glad the last week's analysis worked out perfectly, which we did not rule out a drop, and thankfully, for the benefit of all of us that hold BTC, it did not drop. And today I also got some analysis on Ethereum, so I'm going to go through BTC and Ethereum again.
Appreciate it. So let's get going. I see you got the Ethereum chart open. So what's your thoughts? What do you think? It's also running at the current all-time high at this moment. So where could this go?
Look, yeah, no, of course. Look, I hold quite a bit of Ethereum. Obviously, I like the fundamentals and the technology that it offers, assuming that DeFi and so many other massive projects are built on the Ethereum ecosystem. But if we look at it technically at the moment, what we can see is we've got a very nice W bottom, okay, and obviously giving us a higher low on the second side of the W bottom. And if we were to look at this, obviously this is on the daily, so it's a very big, a very nice zoomed out perspective. If we look at this double bottom currently, you can see we have had resistance around about at the 2000K mark or 1950, which we got rejected. We got rejected for the second time at that point there. However, when we came back, okay, and pushed up again, we had a very nice, if we look at candlestick analysis, this is a very nice morning star pattern on the daily. And if we look at market structure, it gave us a higher low, okay, which therefore formed this very nice, if I just draw it, this very nice W bottom. When we hit that neckline and we broke through, that is what I've been waiting for with Ethereum. Broke through this neckline, we came back to retest it. What I am personally waiting for is a very nice volume supported push. So we want a very nice bullish engulfing or a nice bullish green candle to push off this neckline, followed by a lot of volume. Okay, there's no use us getting a higher high, but lacking in volume. So we'd like a nice volume supported bounce to bounce off this current neckline. And if we were to do that, which I really think we are, there's a lot of fundamentals happening. And if we remember, April and May traditionally for the crypto market is very good months. So it's proving itself so far. If we take the measured move, we'll take it from the neckline all the way down to approximately over there. I don't want to take it all the way down to the wick. Let's be slightly more conservative on this one. And we take that measured move to the break point, all right, to the break point. And that gives us a measured move target of approximately $2,550. I am currently in a leveraged trade on Ethereum at this moment, and my take profit is just below the 2,500 psychological resistance point. So if we look at Ethereum at the moment, it is looking very bullish. We have hit higher highs the last couple of days, but we definitely need to break that $2,150 resistance. And I think when we do, we'll have a very nice surge up to the 2,500 approximately or 2,600 resistance zone. So at the moment, that's what I do have for Ethereum. However, we can't rule out that it will push to the $3,000 mark, which I'm confident that it's going to do it in the next month or two, maybe even sooner, if Ethereum would like to surprise us. If we take a much more zoomed out perspective on Ethereum, I don't see why Ethereum by the end of this bull run, I'm reckoning the bull run shall potentially end around about September. I don't see why we can't hit the $5,000 mark before August, September. Any thoughts on that, Rikus?
Well, if it is $5,000, I'm surely not going to complain. And well, from what you said, you either. But I think one thing to explain for us is just, what do you mean by you want to see a bit of volume?
Okay, so essentially, when I'm not a breakout trader, so if I don't want to get too technical, but if we drop down to the smaller time frames, all right, and I just will elaborate. Assuming the price goes up, hits the resistance line, comes back, hits the resistance line, comes back, and pushes up and hits the resistance line. One thing we can identify that every time we get rejected from the resistance line, it gives us a higher low. We push up, we get rejected again, we come back, it gives us another higher low. So psychologically, what that's telling me is every time the bears are pushing the bulls down, okay, they are losing momentum. So the bears, the sellers are losing momentum and the bulls are gaining some ground. And they go up again, they hit the resistance. When the bears reject the bulls, they come back with more force, okay? So at this point here, if we look at this as a shape, okay, it is an ascending triangle, and an ascending triangle is a bullish indicator. It breaks more often to the upside than the downside. So if it does break the resistance, and it comes back to confirm the resistance has now turned into support and starts to push up, okay? As it starts to push up, I'd love to see a lot more volume, okay, supporting that movement. So if we have very low volume, assuming there's very low volume on a breakout, okay, I'm very cautious in entering a trade because 9 times out of 10, the price comes back for another confirmation. However, if it comes back to retest, okay, if it comes back to retest that zone and push up, followed with a lot of volume, okay, then I'm very confident that the movement to the upside has enough momentum to continue going up. I hope that makes enough sense.
Understandable. That's on that chart you can actually see why you got into your Ethereum trade, because of the big green candles that formed as it broke through.
100%. So if we see here, we broke through, we came back to retest, and we pushed off. And if I look down, we have very nice big volume supported candlesticks. If we had very small candlesticks, which was underneath this particular retest, okay, then I would have been very cautious. I might have had a very tight or a tighter stop loss because I would have been anticipating a drop or another retest on that support zone.
It makes sense and it's much more understandable. And that's the tip out there for the fans. It's something for them to look at.
Yes, certainly. That's something just to consider. I just used it as an additional confirmation before I pulled the trigger and actually enter a long or a short.
For sure. And then Bitcoin.
Great.
What are you expecting this
week?
All
right.
Because that's the main one everyone is wondering about.
100%, the big daddy. All right. So if we remember last time on the call, we identified this ascending wedge, which has broken out to the downside, but therefore found a horizontal support. If we look back, we can see it was support, it was resistance, and then it did act as a very nice support zone for us. If we look at candlestick analysis again, guys, this 3-bar candlestick is a morning star pattern, and a morning star pattern is a bullish indicator. So you can see once we had that nice bullish engulfing candle, we continued going up, and now we've hit a horizontal resistance. One thing I did identify, which is very exciting, if I go down to the smaller time frames, perhaps the 6 hour, you can see that I've identified we have potentially an inverse head and shoulders pattern. So if I were to just use the head and shoulders, you can see we have the left shoulder, we have the head, and we currently have made or busy making the right shoulder. Okay, so if I just remove that, you can see we have that change in market structure. We also have the neckline, which has been rejecting the Bitcoin price a couple of times. If we do, we can actually move that slightly lower, approximately there. If we do break this neckline, all right, so let's just identify it like that. We got the head, we got the right shoulder. This is a very small right shoulder. It could have gone lower, but it has not, which is good, which means that the buyers are back in the game. If we do break this current head and shoulders pattern, the measured move would be this. So we're going to take from the neckline all the way down to approximately the bottom of the head, okay? And we take that measured move, assuming it does break the neckline, okay? So assuming it breaks or has broken the neckline approximately there, that gives us a measured move target of approximately $68,000. So that's going to be very exciting and obviously an all-time high for BTC. And third of all, it takes us back, if we zoom out, it takes us back into this ascending wedge, which is fantastic, because if it does take us back into the ascending wedge and we if it takes us back into the ascending wedge and we find support, okay, and start pushing up, that is great, because the next resistance point will be approximately around about that $80,000 to $82,000 mark. Obviously, that is all speculation at this moment because it has not yet broken that neckline. But if it does, it will be great. And once again, guys, you know how I trade. We'll wait for the neckline to break. We'll wait for some sort of a retest to confirm that there is support in that zone. And as it pushes up, okay, we're going to look at the bottom. Is there volume supporting this particular push? And if there is, I'll be very confident to enter a long position, okay, or buy BTC, especially the people who are sitting on the sidelines waiting. Should they jump in? Should they not jump in? What I would personally be waiting, if I was waiting on the sidelines, is a break of the neckline, some sort of a retest, and a push which is supported with volume. Okay, then I'll be confident that we at least going to get to that $68,000 mark, or to the bottom of this ascending wedge, which is this white line. So that is my analysis at this moment for Bitcoin, which is the bullish scenario. If we do get rejected at this point here, I wouldn't be surprised if we start working our way back down to the 51K mark, which I think is highly unlikely at this moment, but we can never rule that out.
So basically what we're saying, 59,600, just to round it out, is a major number for Bitcoin this week. We get good close above it with support or volume, we can see new all-time highs. But if it keeps on rejecting with no volume, we can see a drop down to the 50s.
Yes, no, 100% is, especially if we get a very hard rejection. Okay, so if people get scared, if there's some bad fundamental news or FOMO, or sorry, some FUD going around social media, we might get a very strong rejection of this resistance line, especially if it's on the daily. Sorry, excuse, that's one of my alerts. Especially if it's on the daily, okay, that might set the momentum and we might start working our way back down to retest this 51K support area.
Will you get into a short trade?
It all depends. I personally do not like shorting Bitcoin in a bull market. I find it to be highly risky. However, if I do, or I am tempted to enter a short position, I will take what I normally enter a long position and only enter with 25% of what I normally would enter a long trade. So even if the trade does not go in my favor and we do continue up, okay, I will get stopped out. However, I can't be too sad because my Bitcoin portfolio value is going
up. Yes. So that's a good point. We're looking at the 59,600 mark for potential long or a short, but manage portfolio management risk when you go into that short trade.
Yes. Yeah. One thing I think is worth mentioning to everybody on the call or who will be watching this YouTube video is wealth preservation is very, very important. Okay, if you can figure out how to maybe not make a lot of money at this stage, but at least preserve your wealth, you're one step ahead of the rest. That I can promise you.
No, that's for sure. And staying away from FOMO. That's the main thing. Don't get in because everyone else is getting in. Do your own analysis and get into something when you feel comfortable. That's the main thing.
100%. I always say when the train has left the station, leave it, because if you try to jump on the train, you're more than likely going to land on the tracks.
That's for sure. But thank you yet again. Thank you for taking time out of your day while you're traveling and everything. And let's see what Bitcoin and Ethereum does this week. I'm looking forward to it. I have numbers to look at, and I'm going to keep an eye on them.
Fantastic. Well, we'll definitely touch base on our next call next week, Tuesday. And I'm sure by then the market would have made a decision if we're going to break this very critical resistance zone and push above. And if we do, I'm very confident that we're definitely going to hit the approximately that $68,000 to $67,000 resistance zone.
Well, I'm going to set alert now for the 59,600 mark and keep an eye on it. If it breaks through, I might get it long as well.
Fantastic. That's great news.
Appreciate it yet again, and thank you very much. Until next week then.
Only a pleasure. Thanks again for having me on your channel.
It's a pleasure.
Cheers. Bye.